Welcome to the You Be the Judge podcast show. My name is Wiri podcasting from Aotearoa, New Zealand, New Terini. I've been researching for over 20 years now into various subjects and topics that affect us all in some shape or form, primarily alternative real news and exotic real information. The truth can set you free, but first it will piss you off. Right. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today we have another brilliant guest. She's been on before. Today's guest, please welcome Poppy. How are you, Poppy?
Good. Hi, everybody. Hi from the Hokianga in Aotearoa.
Beautiful backdrop.
Yeah. I feel very blessed to be able to share this beautiful piece of Papatūānuku.
Last time we talked about various topics. We talked about a bit of the Mayan calendar and the energetic levels that's going on throughout humanity and Papatūānuku. So today we can just have a bit of a chit chat about whatever comes to mind and whatever you've been up to and any new updates that you've come across. So
I think it was about 2 years ago that we did the last interview,
and
and sort of like a lot of what we covered there has happened, which, is sad, but, it depends how we look at things. Because to me, everything is about consciousness and human beings being the conduits of creation. Our consciousness affects everything, and it works with our beautiful planet. It works with Papatūānuku and Ranginui, our Sky Father. So, these things have been really, really impressed upon me since that time. And some of that would have been missing. Like I had the real spiritual concept of the two, but not so much the physical experiencing of making and getting that cosmic energy really circulating through my whole body, which has been protecting me to a great degree, because when you talk very publicly and openly, and when truth is disclosed that is in keeping with nature, that it does attract attention from the powers that do sort of have a different agenda. So, and not that there's good or bad, because what I'm seeing now is every single thing, no matter how it is an opportunity for us to learn and grow. So every challenge that we have is showing us where there may be something that we need to do, like we need to be fully now in our body temples, because there's many energies that fly around. There's an old paradigm that we're letting go of, which is connected to our thought processes. And then there's this new paradigm that we are birthing, which is, again, connected to our thought processes. But the main thing is the power of our hearts, because that power moves way, way, way beyond the speed of the mind and the speed of time now. And so when we are centered in our hearts and we are grounded into Papatūānuku, or also Mother Earth, for people who don't, Mother Earth, and then we are have a direct line to Ranginui, our Sky Father, so that we are circulating their energies within us and are centered in our heart. So soul lives by our heart, or is right. That some people say that the heart is the seat of the soul. So it's about generating cosmic love, and we only do that by this phenomenal connection with nature and earth and sky. And some people will call it the Heavenly Father, the Sky Father, and our cosmic mother, our Mother Earth. So these energies are, this is what our body form is here to be, is to be in connection with nature. If you watch how animals observe, it's only humans that start to judge and analyze and compare and go into these things which are the basis of duality. And because we're in the era of coming into unity consciousness, we have to find our way of dropping that duality, like that warring within our mind, like this is good and this is bad and this is right and this is wrong. But everything is here. It's actually a divine plan. So when you can see it from the really, really big picture, which you can when you spend a lot of time in nature, and we can see that everything that is happening is bringing us back to that oneness, and that our consciousness is what is actually causing everything to rise. The earth is rising, and to me, the main thing that rises is the frequency of time. So it rises to this time where it just starts to, we go into timelessness in a sense. So people keep going and getting hooked on what people call timelines. But timelines, so the Gregorian calendar is a timeline, and there are various timelines that people go on, but they're all artificial. They're not based upon nature. They're not organic or natural. So to me, this is absolutely key, that if we can be fully connected with nature, then we are going to naturally be connected with divine time. And everything that's coming into our life is here to show us how to go through. So the challenges are just as valuable as the bliss. And, many people, and myself included, because of my past, which was highly traumatic, I have had years of sickness because all of this memory has to come out of my body. And so some people call this ascension symptoms. I just call this purification. It's cleansing. And so now, viruses and flus and all of these things, they're all actually helping us to clear our systems and purify ourselves and drop our old ways of comparing and analysing and judging and identifying with people, places, things. It's kind of can feel scary because then what are we? But when we are experiencing in nature and held by nature, we're just in this most amazing state of observation. Things slow down in a sense because we're present. But then we've got the old paradigm: work hard, compete, you're going to starve if you don't have money. All of these things that have driven us to be productive and to keep doing and keep it going. And now it's like the energies are sort of like, it's almost like having a rug pulled out underneath your feet, and we have to stop and we have to slow down. We have to be and sort of see, well, what's going on for me. And I have a lot of karakia, which is prayer with the earth. I always was much, much, much more connected with earth, and it's been more recent that I've had more of a connection with Sky Father. And both of these are a part of us. So we are like this conduit, which is between earth and heaven. So we, as humans, we bring heaven to earth. So in the heavenly realms, as above, so below. So there's all sorts of tricks and things in the heavenly realms, just like there are in the earth. But most of it comes from our minds. So our thoughts become things, our interpretations. So if we're going to keep listening to negative news and threat and fear, we actually start to attract those experiences because that's where it goes, and it closes down our cosmic love potential as well. So this is really a time about reconnecting with nature, and that is where we do find unity. There's natural harmony and peace, but of course we have to help clean up our environments and clean up the earth and get together. And smaller communities of care now. The money system is obviously changing, and there could be big changes even this month And so it's really causing humanity, those people that really love, to come together. And we need to be growing each other food. We need to be making each other's medicines. We need to be giving one another shelter. We need to be giving one another hugs and contact and support. So that it's the earth's abundance is true abundance. A money system is not abundance. It causes imbalance. So it's a competitive structure, and the matrix or the artificial systems are all based on a competitive structure like duality, which came again from that sixth era, which we talked about in that last interview, which is on this chart, which where, right back to the Babylonian slave driving times, where they brought in the money system and got people to start to slave and basically tried to put people's soul into estates, and with the letter of the law, with artificial timelines, calendars, they have an incredible effect on human consciousness. So if we can drop those and return to nature, then, we are actually doing a lot for this planet and for the earth.
I just wanted to go back where you talked a little bit there about not feeding things, like not feeding the energy towards these wars and things like that. That's going on right now. I kind of have this little thing where I call it Neo, like Neo in the Matrix, NEO. And to me, it's like non-emotional observing. Do you think we need to be more in that Neo state?
Yes, because we're still responding to what goes on in this world. I guess the main thing about most news is that it can't be trusted. It's perspective and interpretation. But then also we can have our truth radar and we may really resonate with things as well. But yeah, it's not getting emotionally caught, as what you said. So it's being able to observe everything without getting hooked and pulled into it. Some people listen to mainstream media all day. Some people listen to conspiracy theory all day, and results can be similar for the person, in that they get absolutely caught in the information, and then you're not yourself. You're not fully present in your body. Yeah, you're pulled into the game. So yeah, it's a really good point. It's a very, very good point, because it's good to have our eyes open and to be observant. But what I find is that nature tells me everything I need to know. So, nature is like calling, get those gardens growing, get, like all of these things. I get guided by nature. Like, it's an incredibly intelligent force. People look at nature and they might see a tree or this or that. But when I'm connecting in there, I'm receiving strong messages, like what to share is one thing, because I share what is given to me, but also how to live my life, nature becomes my guide. Yeah. Whereas what is happening is that sometimes the artificial worlds are still becoming people's guides. Like, I spoke to a dear friend the other day, and, because I'd had the flu, which came up as positive COVID, and he said, "Oh, you've had the vaccination, haven't you?" And I went, "Oh, no, I haven't," because I don't go into arguments about this with people. And he says, that if you don't have the vaccine, every time you get the flu, your immunity is going to go down. And I said, "Oh, where did you hear that?" And he said, "Oh, on the telly." And, I didn't feel like I needed to say more, because I just knew for myself where I'm at. And nature guided me. It guided me years ago. Even I was aware of plans that were coming up through the anonymous hacker groups that there was going to be a vaccine rollout, that there was going to be a grapple for human souls, that there was going to be, tracking in the body, and that these agendas would come and that there would be a grab for souls. And that's how I see it, as being a grab for human souls, because in putting people into a new slavery system, because there are those from other epochs that lost their souls, and the only way they survive is by hosting on others. And even human beings that are not in their bodies, they can host on other human beings. It's just a dynamic that happens. But, like I see all of this. I see all of these things in natural meditation. It's not by looking at anything outside of myself, because we are nature. So if we are nature, then we also have all of these things in ourselves. It's just that we have had to fully reclaim our body temple for it to be pure information.
Now, going back to callings, in Maori, we call it wairua. So in terms of the wairua, how do you think people should integrate more into their wairua?
Yeah, well, this is what has been my main discovery is, first, we have to be grounded. So if you look at how a child grows up, the first thing it does is all physical. It gets into its physical body. It starts to learn to walk and move. And that is kind of like connected to the earth and the ground. And then, there's love responses. And then you have like the spirit. So the spirit, or wairua, that's when we really connect. But we have to connect from a very strong physical basis. And that's where I think a lot of people have kind of not dawned on, they haven't dawned on to it. I didn't. So I didn't have enough of that strong physical basis. I still didn't even know how to love my body, and be so grateful for this body that takes me everywhere. Now I do practices which I've actually learned through a Qigong master, where I spend time every day touching my body and patting my body and tapping my body and getting into my body and getting into that physical form. And when I get into my physical, always, because we have to keep waking our bodies up, because we can get drawn away here, there, when we don't live in presence. We have to learn again to live in presence. And then what happens is then we start to access the true wairua and that true guidance. So you would have done a lot of work on your physical being. And I know that you've done that with diet, and you've done that with lots of things. And so and also I know that you've always been very guided by wairua, because you're very kind of a present, caring, loving person. Plus, I think we also have these Pleiadian roots that we remember, and they're here. But even that wairua can guide us back into our physical connection. So it's like the Maori and the wairua together, the life force and the spirit, they work together. They work together. And to me, it's almost a little bit like Papatuanuku and Ranginui. They work together. The masculine and the feminine, they work together. They make us whole and complete. If we're all wairua and we totally neglect our bodies, what can happen is that people can get really distorted spiritual messages. And because there's other things that are in the body. The body is not totally their own. And so wairua can pick up any voice from any ancestor, any spirit, anything. But no, not direct, pure wairua, sorry. But we can actually start connecting to spiritual things, which can be tricksters or whatever. And so that's why we have to be so present in our body. So I actually have daily physical practices of getting into my body. And the first thing I want to do when I wake up in the morning is like wiggle my toes and my fingers and say hello to my body and feel my whole body and just be. And then I find what happens is that then my breathing is going down into my lower belly. And that is our creative center. And so, like, one of the principles of the Qigong, and this is ancient knowledge, is you have a very strong lower body. So, and then you're light, you can dodge bullets. You can dodge bullets from above, because you're light up at the top. It's like the lightness of the wider in the top of the body and the groundedness of the modi in the bottom of the body. But of course, it's all going together, and it all works together. So it's about the balance. Everything's always about balance. So that's a physical and spiritual balance. And then we have our soul that's seated here when we've fully reclaimed our soul into all of our body, the whole of our body. And where it's not, that's where we're vulnerable to false messages, to things that could, we have to be able to get. I just know now that I go fully into my body now and fully into spirit to get the messages. I go into very deep meditations to share what comes up. Just because I love people, and I do remember other epochs. I've had many Mayan past lives, and the Maya have held the secrets of time. And time has been very overlooked. It's like people don't think about time much. They think about, when they think about ascension, people seem to be connecting it to like a big heavenly event where all of a sudden people are gone like that. But actually it's work. It's work to all play. Let's make it fun, make it enjoyable. I do. But it's about reclaiming our whole body being. So then we are the authentic soul that we came, here to be, with the purpose that we came here with. And we're going to show that, a lot of these, it's hard to use the language without going into duality because we're so upset, we're so used to it. But like things that we feel that hinder us, the things that like to me, I get frustrated with getting sick. I get like, oh, not again. I should be better by now. It's been years and I've got all this to do, da, da, da. But the reality and the truth is that when I sink into Papatuanuku and I'm connected with Ranganui, is I get told constantly, this is all part of the divine plan. This is all in divine order. Just be with it. Trust. And my plans don't necessarily work out. And what the quantum dynamic now is that all our intentions and plans, those of us who've taken this journey, they support the rising of our planet. They're going to unfold. They just flow. But then things that don't, which may still be our past connections to greed or competition or whatever, we can't go and do what we might get stopped. It's like, unless it's just because I actually, I have daily karakia and I ask always to be guided by divine will. I probably don't even really have to ask because I simply am anyway, but it's for my consciousness, that's where I'm at. We're all in this different place in our consciousness. So we do what we do until we learn it through and through.
Do you think at this time right now, we need to work on letting go, releasing, so we can level up our consciousness?
Most of the population still has chosen to stay in the duality era, and there will be a splitting away at some point. I know that and I've seen it, that there's going to be massive amount of death coming up one way or another, and that we really need to be strong. We need to be so strong in ourselves. We need to be more connected than ever when that happens, because how are we going to handle that? Say if, and they are going to be people we know, and they're going to be people I don't know how it's going to be, but I've definitely seen it. I had very strong visions of it well over 2 years ago, before we even knew that word COVID. Yeah. So we are, and what's happening is we are letting go. Our bodies are showing us where we've still got memory. There's cellular memory, there's past life memory, there's events will happen around us that might trigger us or show us what we need to do. And honestly, because sometimes now they're going to our core wounds, we can have days where we can feel like, I do not want to be here. I just cannot do this anymore. And then the next day we might have this fantastic day, but we dropped it. So we keep dropping energy. And the more we do that, the more light fills our being. We are a mixture of light and dark, and they are both as valuable and as sacred as each other. So it's quite a big, different way of thinking. You know, we've had a lot of religious ideas about good and evil, which, you know, have been part of these things that kept humanity in that striving, trying, serving, you know, harvesting energy sort of slavery paradigm. But to get out of slavery, we don't have any of that anymore. Our pasts have been something we've needed to experience for the new paradigm. Yeah. And we know once those lessons are learned, we're not going to go back there easily. We're going to maintain, we're going to hold that balance. It's a process that takes time. If we think of, you know, like humanity is still quite deeply entrenched in duality. And we are finding the sense of oneness and presence, and like finding it in our body, like one whole being here that is heaven and earth, and, you know, we're made out of nature. You know, it's something that we can kind of look at as a guide. Like, our body is our gift that we look after, and we need to nourish and take care of this incredible vessel of conscious creation. It's amazing. And the thing is that as we change, more and more of our potential, more and more of our gifts are going to come back to us. We are actually finding out our human potential more and more. It's really exciting. And I think that's what's so beautiful about spending all this time in nature, is that it actually starts to show us, and we can go beyond time. You know, like, I'm very aware that I've gone back in time to repair things. I go forward in times to prepare things. And that's because of the power of the heart. So when we have this incredible energy of loving, cosmic love, that frequency is so high, it will transcend any other frequency. It doesn't matter what it is. So we've got to know that. And of course, you know, we're going to get messages from the artificial world. Hey, I'm big, strong, mighty, powerful one. But actually, it's us. We are the ones. You know, we are this most incredible creation, this most incredible being. And as we purify and become more and more into self-love, and, you know, like, for many of us don't even know what self-love is. I have not known what self-love is. I was brought up as a sacrifice. And so I was always like, love everyone, love everyone, love everyone, love everything, because it was like survival. But it wasn't coming from a replenishing place or a self-generating place. The self-love wasn't in there. But now I'm learning to receive. And my greatest giver, of course, is nature. You know, all our food, all our shelter, all our companions, that's all in the real, you know, organic, natural world.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about triggers and out of character episodes. I've had a couple of friends and some family members go through triggers. And what I mean by triggers is, you know, they just snap, and, you know, they're saying things abusively, and then they go, "Oh my gosh, where did that come from? I'm sorry. Where did that come from? I'm sorry if I offended you or anything like that." And it's happening to different people, and I kind of sense that on an energetic level, there seems to be that dark energy that wants to keep holding us back into and keeping us back into the dark realms, and it wants its feeds to keep going. And I'm thinking, maybe is this what is going on right now with some of those people that are going through triggers?
It's a harvest time in a sense. It's a time where the souls are choosing which way to go, and if there is any way, then I think that happens. But what I find, you can feel like people think, I'm getting attacked. And, I used to go, oh my gosh, I've just been attacked. I put out this post, this Mayan post, and the next day I'm pummeled all night. I feel like I've been, in a war, and I wake up and I can be really sick, and I've got to do all sorts of meditation and all sorts of things to bring myself back. I mean, that's happened a lot, and I just about threw it in so many times because I thought this is just too hard on my body. But yet, we still have to help and support each other through this time. And so I realized in my meditations that I had to personally become strong enough that was not that it was about my soul development, to be able to transcend that. And one thing that I found, look, I've had near-death experiences too, so that kind of fits in there. So the earliest I realized that the satanic ritual that I recall as around about the age of 2, and it came through in different memories. I had a consultation with an expert on reptilians and satanic abuse and military abductee sort of scenarios, and I had a consultation with him. He's a good friend, and I really trust him, and he's been very, very true. He helps a lot of people. And as we were going down, I said, look, I just need some help because there's parts of this memory that that are still got me, and I can't get it. And what I started to see, so what happened was that we kind of worked out, yes, I was left for dead and I could have died, and that I was saved by an incredible force. And I don't know how I got out of that situation, but to me, it showed up as this bright gold light. And there's this bright gold light, and it, like, the presence of it was so beautiful, and I think I may have been slipping out of my body. And it was so beautiful, and somehow I got out of there. I got better, but I searched for that all my life. And then as we were talking, I recalled this gold light, and I've had more memories since, and they're very disturbing to see the memories. Like, this is talking about really a terrible satanic ritual. And so I'm not going to share the details of that because that's traumatizing enough, But now what's happened is that when I've had those memories, that gold light has been with me. The gold light has been come with me, and I've been able to just see the memory, like Neo. What you said, what was that? The NEO? I could observe
non-emotional observer.
Yeah, I could be a non-emotional observer of my memory and not get caught in it again, and not go into sickness and trauma again, overseeing what happened. And also I could forgive and release the people that are involved who chose to do what was somehow needed for my soul mastery and development. Okay, so it's like we have to become whole and complete for this new paradigm. That way we don't harvest energy from anybody. We grow energy together. And that's what makes it potentially blissful, is unity, is because we are all very whole and complete. We know, when you look at humanity, there's still Sexual energy is something that is grabbed and given and moved around and causes so much misery and pain, and it seems to be at the bottom of everything. If we look at our body system, our root chakra is our grounding with the earth. And of course, if we are traumatized out of our root chakra, then other beings and other entities and other things can come in and hijack that and take that, and we can get suggestions that, or that some spirit wants to make love to you and it's going to be amazing and all those things. Okay, well, when we're fully in our body, and that doesn't happen, we have a sense of well-being when we're fully in our root chakra, and that when we feel it the way that it is, it's about a sense of well-being. We need to be feeling our root chakra. We need to feel all of our body, the whole of our body. And it starts from the ground up. And then we have that flow together again. It always comes back to that for me. For me, forgiveness has never been something that I do. It's been a result of healing. So I can get to this place where, oh my gosh, everyone who did those terrible things to me did that for my soul development. And look, I'm going to, I'm entering a new paradigm. I'm experiencing health. I can be grateful for the earth, everything that's around me. It's just a natural byproduct. But, again, I think it's good we can hold an intention, because I've seen places where I thought, wow, I haven't forgiven them. What's going on there? And then, I'll go into meditation and I'll explore that and then find that answer. But yeah, I actually call directly on Papatūānuku and Ranganui as well, to guide me. I have been in a place where, because I've seen many visions and many beings and many things, because what happened to me, that I was even a little bit afraid to see my highest guides, so it was like, why not just go direct? Which I think we need to always go direct. I think we can get distracted a little bit by these some of the sideliners. They may not have the purest intentions. They can still be tricksters. And, one of the biggest things in the game is infiltration. So like religions can do really, really well, because they'll be 99.9% true, but that 0.1% is enough to throw someone straight off. It's like we have this divine organic time, but then we go off and we follow this other timeline that someone else introduced, but it's out of sync. And we are out of sync. And there's that wobble, and there's that thing. So it's about going direct, always direct. And, we can ask for all of these things, and they will come. And so, yeah, forgiveness is part of our purification. Yeah. What about you? What are your feelings about that?
Yeah, I mean, there are things in my past that I've done in the past, and I've gone back and I've apologized to those people, and asked for forgiveness, and it's been a beautiful experience. I mean, even some of the stuff I did when I was like a little kid, and it's just breaking those cycles of karma, I call it, for me personally, and it's healed me. It's really healed me. Not only that, it's strengthened the relationships with those people that I affected. There have been some that have affected me too, and I've gone back to them and they've asked for forgiveness, and it's actually even strengthened relationships, because I find relationships are something that we should hold on to on this planet. Relationships with people, even relationships with animals and with nature and things like that. So, yeah, for me, it's been quite remarkable, and I've got a little bit more into things of loving yourself now, just being more healthy about your life choices that you do, and moving more into fearlessness as well. So these are things that I really want to help teach others too, about becoming more fearless, not being afraid. And the other one is grounding. Now, yourself, can you give us some tips on what we can do to do grounding?
Well, Getting the feet on the ground is good. But there's a part on your foot. Okay, now I'm going to see if I can get my foot up here. Oh, where are we? Right. Oh, there. Here. And in Korea, they call that the young. Oh gosh, I've forgotten. But that is where we actually need to have that our place centered on the earth. So what happens is that most of us we're not even standing we're not even standing what we can call a 0 point. We're often sort of leaned back and resting on our heels, and it's quite heavy, but we actually, when we get grounded in that part and our feet are spread and we really feel our roots go down deep right to the core of Mother Earth through that part, that is amazing, and you can really feel the difference. And I've got used to that now, so my posture is different. And recently I had to get new glasses, and they've got progressive lenses, and I had to get them because my head is held in a different spot, because I've actually gone into more of what a 0 point in the way that I stand, and that I'm actually standing more lightly, so that the top half of my body is more loose. It's not holding all this tension. And getting out of our minds is also another good way of grounding, because when we're in our minds, we're all up in the top of our body and we're rigid and we're kind of like stuck up here. So, you just want to let that top part of your body be really relaxed, and then from your hips down, it's strong. It feels strong. And also you will also feel the accumulation of energy in your lower abdomen, which is the creation center. So it's actually really wonderful when you start to live it, and it becomes part of your life, and it makes us a lot stronger and able to keep our energy field very vibrant. Every night, I like to make sure that I've got my energy capsule really, really securely around me, and that I sleep peacefully. Yeah. So it's my space.
Awesome.
It's my body. I love it. I want to be with it. It's like my sacred bed space, and it's for me. I don't want all these other things around. I mean, if they are, we've just got something to purify, something to release. We can, meditation is great. And that's why nature time is meditation. You don't have to sit there in the lotus position with your fingers like that. You can walk on the beach. You can just sit on the grass. You can watch the stars. You can take a bath. You can do many, many, many things to meditate and get into your where you are speaking directly with Wiri.
Here's another question for you. Would you consider yourself a starseed?
Yeah, I know. I had in a breathwork session once. I saw my conception, and I saw where I came from, and I saw that it was from the Pleiades, which is obviously maybe life between life. So absolutely in love with this earth and this earthly experience, because we are all one, everything, the Pleiades, everything. But yeah, star-seeded, yeah, and I'm aware I've had other visions of other lion beings, or lion. They actually said to me that they were lion people, and other beings that even looked a little bit like the ones in the Avatar movie. It was like, look, we're so infinite. And like all of this information is encoded in our DNA in our body. So we don't want to genetically modify it. We want to keep our pure DNA, because otherwise that can be another distortion. If it, it's like corn. If you look at a cob of corn, when it's purely organic and it's good for the body, but when it's not organic, it actually has an acidic effect on the body. It doesn't hold its normal nutritional function.
I see in the past you've done retreats. Can you tell us a little bit more about those? And if so, do you do them now as well?
No, I haven't been able to work because of my health for quite a few years, especially with having all the memories. The memories that I had to clear were humongous. But yes, I used to facilitate retreats with partner for people that were like usually in crisis, like maybe suicidal or lost a loved one, or severe depression or marital disease or certain addictions. And so we just used to have one guest come at a time, and we would just basically just give them as much experiential things and information so that they could create the change. Because I believe in teaching people to heal themselves. I don't believe in healing others. I believe that we heal ourselves. And so I'm always really interested in finding ways that where people can heal themselves, and like I can teach them, I can teach people how to heal themselves. And I'm still very keen about that, especially with the way that I've learned through Qigong, because you can have an amazing amount of self-healing when practicing that correctly. Yeah. And it's worked for me. Like, it's got to work for me before I'll ever teach anyone anything anyway. It'll happen again. I do see it that retreats will happen again. And, I don't know how it's going to happen, but we are creators, and I don't know whether the communities come along and we make centres. And what I see is that I see many centres actually based on maybe a model where everything comes back. You see, people have lost the arts, and the arts are just such an incredible part of us, where everything can be there for that person to find themselves ultimately, and then find their purpose. And it's just pure love, really. That's what is the healer, and it comes through connection. As you said, you called it relationships, a connection. So vital.
Are there any upcoming events or projects or anything you're working on you want to share with us?
I'm involved in projects at community levels, which I'm not really sharing because we're just getting on and doing it, because this is about the community finding ways of supporting one another. I like where I live, it's supposed to be one of the highest poverty rates according to the statistics in the country. But what is really beautiful about that is that people really learn to share and look out for one another. And so it's become much more a way of a life here anyway. So yeah, I connect in people where we can bring things together. And it's going to be such an interesting transition to find, how do we do this without this artificial money system? How do we do it, and how do we get it off the ground, because at the moment this money thing is still sort of all in there. But this is the beauty of it, is that if each of us is fully connected with ourselves, we're fully connected with Papatūānuka and Ranginui, then each of us is guided at what to do, how to do it, when to do it, when. And it becomes like a joy. It's actually like there's ease in it. The movement's light, it's easy. It's not like, oh God, I've got to go and build a house for someone, It's not, or I got to lug all this heavy clay out of the ground. It's like, well, I can see us together in gardens, I can see us like picking berries and doing things together, and people doing what they love. Some people love gardening, some people love giving healing sessions, some people love doing arts, and some people love to entertain. Like, everybody's got these loves, and when we come into this authenticity, when each one of us becomes authentic, which I believe will be what will be where we are really firmly in a matter of years in this new paradigm, we will each be authentically ourselves, and that will create a perfect harmony. And it's kind of like, we don't go around planning and scheduling and everything that we used to. There's no more competing. Everyone will be blessed. Everyone is considered. Everyone is loved. Everyone is loving, because, that we are letting go of the challenges and the obstacles that are mental first in our consciousness, and they got here by trauma. It was a number. It was something that we had to go through. We had to go through these lessons so that we could get up to come back into unity consciousness. And wow, how incredible! Like I'm having a very good day today. I'm pretty high vibe. I done a little bit of practices and things. It's not like that every day. Some days I can feel really sick, but I don't want, my thing is, right, how am I going to be with that? I can just accept it and love it and know that it's the divine thing. The good thing about, if you're feeling sick, is that you have to stop and you have to slow down and, have a magnesium bath. I'm like, I've got an outside bath here, and I just pour up my outside bath, and I put magnesium chloride in it, and I put some essential oils in it, and I lie down and I watch the clouds, and I watch the harbour, and I watch the birds, and it's like, and I just am still, and things come to me. Water is sometimes a really good thing. Getting your feet into water is another really good thing for getting connected. Yeah. You want to sense. We want to sense. We want to use all our senses. It's actually, we've been enculturated to not to touch our bodies, not to enjoy ourselves, but, go get under a waterfall, all these things that are there that can just get us in our body and get us in our being, and then we have that connection. Then we're in Wiri, then we're guided, then we know what to do, and we find others that are committed and wanting to do that, and we help each other, and we're all at different places too. So being a Neo, I really love your interpretation. Being a Neo is great in this life right now. Yeah. Because people are still doing the best they can. It might not always work, but yeah.
So do you reach out and respond to people? And if so, which avenues are best for people to reach you in case they want to ask you questions or know a little bit more about where they can get that consciousness calendar you've got there?
I have a website, which is mayandmissions.com. Now, I'm not really using the website because it's been shadow banned. And so if you go to mayandmissions.com, there's a contact form, and it's actually probably the best way to contact me is through that contact form. Yeah, but the information there is getting a little bit older because I haven't updated anything for a while. And because everything's so dynamic, I sort of like to report on the current energies.
Now, can you give us any last positive messages?
Oh, yeah, just thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being the most amazing 100% valuable soul that you are. Everyone contributes to creation. Everyone does a part. Everything you purify for the whole. And I thank you. And I just love that, I feel quite a beautiful sense of people that come on this journey with me. And, even if there was 2 or 3 people that were looking at it, it's still worth doing that. But, like I do hear and see people come through beautiful transitions and beautiful changes, and, get themselves living in natural settings and nurturing their souls. And that's beautiful. So, we are all one. Each one of us matters. We're all equal. It's a circular sharing now. It's no more hierarchies in the new paradigm.
Well, thank you very much, Poppy, for your time and your shared energy. And we wish you all the best on your journey. And hopefully there's going to be a lot of us alongside you on the same journey with you too.
Yes, yes, there is. There's actually lots more and more people. It's exciting to keep meeting more people, and especially some of these young people that are remembering. I'm really inspired by some of the young people that are really stepping into their spiritual leadership now, and and they're doing it from this beautiful space of having dropped all that need for approval and competition. It's great.
Thank you, Poppy. Have a great life, not just a great day.
You too, Wiri. Thank you so much. Bless you.